The Energized Show, up the Irish.
Okay, here. Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Aura Kings Competitions. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
How are you doing, bud? Welcome back to the show.
Man, I'm doing great. What a weekend that was, and what a weekend we have lined up ahead of us. Cage Warriors Dublin came to town and absolutely stole the show. It was absolutely incredible to see. Massive fan of Cage Warriors, like as a promotion, and just like the RDS was absolutely on wheels for this event, Baz, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Cage Warriors have found their home there in the RDS. Like last time we were there, it was just crazy, but this time it felt even more special. Maybe that's recency bias for us, but like even the card going into the events, like when we were driving in, we were just like, there's something, this feels special.
Yeah, it really does. Like there was I think for the first time in a while, there was like actual just like MMA fans going there with no affiliation to anyone. That's how good the event was. Ticket, like the event sold out, which is incredible to see. I think there was one or two sort of resales on the day type of thing. But yeah, look, the amount of gyms on the card as well was absolutely phenomenal. Like in terms of us going there, like, you know what I mean, like the communication with the Cage Warrior staff is like fairly on point. Like they have like a nice small team for us, so like it's easy for us to like sort of get in touch with everyone. And look, they run things like almost too smoothly on the night, don't they? Like they're like bang, 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 fight after fight after fight after fight. It's an incredible operation that they run, and it's cool to see some of that from behind the scenes. Like,
no, it was like you just touched on it there. The amount of gyms that are involved this time, like it just felt like something like special is coming as well.
big time.
Obviously the way SBG are now part of it, like seeing, like obviously you have your like your Team KFs, your FAIs, your Rhinos, your Torreses, compounds, but now like the likes of CMAX as well. I'm obviously missing a few because I think there was like 18 teams, 18 fighters on the card. But like the way now the SBG brand is part of the organization as well. You have like your own Roddies walking around, your Peter Queelys. Like it just felt like it was the hottest ticket in town, and
big time. It felt like, special. That's what.
It did. I know that's probably the key word of today's show. And then not just the way. I think Cage Warriors have seen the amount of upcoming talent in the country as well, and they've snapped it up. Like the way like Max Daly was making his debut, like Conor McCarthy making his debut in Ireland on Cage Warriors, like Keith Kyo making his debut. It was just like, wow, like this next wave is very, very exciting.
Yeah, it really is. I actually can't wait for. I think this is going to be one of those ones that you look back in a few years and be like, and he was in the card, and he was in the card, and he was in the card. You know, like saw them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, it was incredible to see, and look, I'm here for. And they're coming back in September, Basmo. The next Irish.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, obviously, for the people that don't know, the president of Cage Warriors is Graham Boylan. He's from Cork, and they're coming back this year. And like with the amount of Irish talent, it's like, how could they not? And the atmosphere as well, man. Like it's just,
man, they're actually going to all right. I'll release the real news. They're actually coming back for my birthday, and they're going to actually host me a birthday party with a load of fights. That's what the plan is. You know,
man. Why is it always about you, man? Why is it always
that's
about
what it's about, man? It's all about me. It's all about me. Also, man, shout out to New Dimensions who sorted us out with some lovely gear. I'm actually still wearing the jacket. I haven't taken it off since Saturday night.
Slept in
unbelievable gear. Very, very comfortable. Very, very, very nice gear. So shout out to Jeff at New Dimensions for hooking us up with some new clobber for the night.
Yeah, no, shout out New Dimensions as well. And also for the people that didn't see the post-fight interviews as well, like getting that many fighters backstage, interviewing all the winners, and even putting the content out on the night. Like, it does take a lot of work, and I think you absolutely smashed it.
We both did. Like, there's more content to come out, but like, if you take from weigh-ins onwards, like it's got to be close to a record amount of posts that we put out. Over that space of time, like our traffic and like our eyeballs on the page is like at an all-time organic high, like without getting like a mad shout out from someone with a couple of million followers. I think the only time we ever had a larger dashboard output was when Conor McGregor collabed on the post. So like Irish MMA, that just goes to show how interested people are in at the moment, and how big an event Cage Warriors Dublin was. And I'd love to see them do it in a bigger arena next time. I don't know whether they go back to the RDS in September. I don't know. Maybe can they do the National Basketball Arena or whatever? Can they get more people in there? Let's see. But it'd be cool if they could do a larger event. I'd be all for it.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is when we're busy, Irish MMA is doing well. So that is always a good thing for us. But
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. We are here every week, and we are posting every day on Instagram all the latest Irish MMA and combat sports news. Ross, it's exciting times ahead.
Absolutely. I'm absolutely purely buzzing for it. So why don't we now have a look at the actual night itself? And I don't know, maybe we'll start from the bottom to the top, and we'll go through the card and see what we thought of the fights and where we think people are going next.
Yeah, you may as well start off with Jamie Ababissa getting the win, also known as the slowest runner in Team Rhino, Ross. You'd know that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he needs to sort that out. He needs to get some tips off Darby on how to be fast. But could be something to do with the size of the legs. But look, Jamie Ababissa was phenomenal Saturday night. He won that fight. Yeah. I think he even got a 30-26 at one stage. He dominated Falcao from the opening bell right to the final bell. Some nice finishes in there. Some nice strikes in there, some nice takedowns, good grappling. Like, I think he even got 1 or 2 knockdowns. That left hand was like an absolute sniper for him. So shout out to him. And I think the only thing you're looking for more from Jamie Ababissa is just be a bit more active. Like, he hasn't fought in a year. He said that was circumstantial due to like life events. So like, hopefully we can see him more active there, because he showed he was a class above there on Saturday night.
No, I agree. I think a lot of people would like to see Jamie more active. And as you said, maybe he can fight in your birthday, aka Cage Warriors Dublin.
Yeah. Love to see it. And then like, did you think the next fight had a strange position on the card? Straight into, one of our domestic dust-ups between Kenny Mokunawana and Matthew Elliott. Do you think this one should have been a bit higher on the card, or what were your thoughts on it?
Well, like going into this fight, this one had the most like back and forth between the both fighters. Like, they're both obviously calling each other out. So like this one, and the way it was an all Irish affair. And then just looking at the way, like, FAI also had Scott Harvey on the card, they had Paddy McCurry on the card. I think Shando and Pat would have like thought they'd split them up so they give each fighter a certain amount of time. So like, ideally it would have been higher on the card, but I think because there was more FAI fighters on the card, they were like, right, let's kick off this one as well. And also there would have been a lot of people traveling from Belfast to come to this event as well. So get everyone in, get them in nice and early, bud. You know yourself.
Yeah, fair. And look, shout out to Matthew Elliott. I think he is severely underrated. He showed heart at one stage. Looked like Kenny had him in a deep Kimura at one stage. But he also showed his grappling prowess, which is what I'm best known for. And he's one of the best wrestlers in the country. And he really showed that on the night. And look, he's a hard matchup for everyone. No one's going in there and going to have an easy night with Matthew Elliott. And I think he's looking to really propel himself in this division and see where he goes from here. In terms of Kenny, I'd love to see Kenny get another run out in Cage Warriors. Kenny is absolutely no slouch, and great to see SPG fighters on the card, as we touched on earlier, Basmo.
Yeah, Matthew obviously came back and said he wasn't impressed with his performance. And what would you like to see, or who would you like to see Matt fight next? Because like, this card was absolutely rammed with featherweights.
Yeah, like a bit of a tough one to really know. Like, in terms of like the other featherweights in the card, like, do I really want to see him fight like another Irish lad? Not particularly. Maybe Matthew Elliott fights Iorga, who Solomon Simon just beat. Maybe that's a good matchup for him. And next, and that's a win there will put him in that upper echelon of featherweights on the Cage Warrior roster.
No, I'd like that as well because he obviously previously fought Ryan Shelley as well.
Mm.
Yeah. Moving on, Ross.
Yeah, moving on. Kieran the Body Lock Brady. I always thought his nickname was Slim Brady, but look, he went 4-0. He was chasing that finish all night. He was saying, I was asked him about his head and arm choke post fight and he said he never gets them, so he doesn't know why he was going for them. But look, massive win for him. He is doing serious bits for Team Torres. He's doing serious bits for himself. He has another Bambino on the way, so hopefully, again, like September is a date that could steer him the right path. He's a phenomenal talent. Like, he's really, really going from strength to strength, and I'd love to see what the limits are for Kieran Brady. Hard to sort of like say who you want to see him considering we might not see him for a little while, but he's definitely someone who I want to see his next outing in the Cage Warriors cage, put it that way.
No, I'd agree. I think he goes very under the radar, even in the Irish scene.
Yeah, well, I think more people are taking notice. I think that Grozov win was a huge one for him. I think that's going to make more people take notice. And then a win there against Fernandez. Now, I know Fernandez was 3-2 coming into the fight, and people weren't that high. Not that high, but they weren't that familiar with him. But he actually did have a win over Jimmy Quinn in his last fight. So, like, Jimmy Quinn is the MMA Fight Academy. So, like, I think that goes to show that Fernandez had a bit about him as well. So, Kieran Brady, again, like, it's the grappling. His grappling seems to be far better than his opponents. He seems to really smother his opponents when he gets on top of them.
Yeah, no, he's also got a great personality as well that like really shines through. The way like he loves to boogie on down, Ross. Like he's like a fan favorite. So like I think what is going to be next for him will be very interesting. Like surely he won't want to miss your birthday. And 4-0 now.
No.
4-0
Yeah,
now.
4-0. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then obviously next up was Scott Harvey. Like Scott Harvey taking on Leon Arms. That's 2 really good wins in a row for Scott Harvey. He fought Enrico DeGanghi, who was 4-1 at the time on a cage conflict card, and he got a unanimous decision there, and he got a unanimous decision here against Leon Arms. He really won nearly every moment of that fight. I think one thing people forget about Scott Harvey is like Scott Harvey's first ever MMA fight was actually against his number 1 training partner, Paul Hughes, 11 years ago. So yes, Scott Harvey might only have 5 pro. He might be 5-0. He might look young in his pro career, but he is doing this a very long time. If you take it that Scott Harvey made his amateur debut 11 years ago, like Leon Arms was probably 11 years ago. So like Scott Harvey's been doing this for a long time. And I think the experience and that level of fight IQ as well really played out in this fight. And Scott Harvey, he is a high level fighter. He is a fighter that is, again, probably like Matthew Elliott, a bit under the radar. But I think what we need to see now from Scott is that bit of activity. I know he's getting married. So let him go off and have his wedding. Keep a pretty face for that, but after the wedding, hopefully we see a bit more activity from and see him make a run of things.
Yeah, I'd agree on that fight. That I think the experience showed that I think there's 10 years in the difference. But you see, the way Cage Warriors they're going now, Leon Arms is under the MMA Fight Academy branch, and he also trains out of Millsborough Fight Academy with like George Hardwick and Harry Hardwick, who are also in attendance, by the way. So there's only a certain amount of people Cage Warriors can really give a push to, you know, and put out on all the content. And like Scott Harvey has a great story behind him. Like obviously, like he looks well. He's from Dublin, fights up in Fight Academy Ireland in Belfast. Paul Hughes is number 1 training partner. So he has that story as well. Both guys had great stories going into this fight. Both undefeated going into it as well. And then Scott took the win. So I think there could be a big push now for Scott's future. So it will be very interesting to see. And Scott says like he wants to get a title shot at some stage. So let's see what happens to Scott as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see what Scott does next, and hopefully, hopefully we see him ASAP back in that cage. Definitely want to see him 3 times in there this year. Speaking of absences from the cage, Alex O'Sullivan, the head coach from CMAC, picked up an unanimous decision win over Dara Toman. Dara Toman was tough as nails in this fight. It was an unbelievable scrap. Very, very impressive to see. But Alex O'Sullivan obviously had a win over him already. He was probably a heavy favourite going into this fight. And he got his hand raised. I think a massive sense of relief maybe for Alex O'Sullivan to get a win after being out of the cage for so long and having those health issues. And then for Dara Toman, I feel like he really showed his worth. Like, I know his pro record now looks at 4-4. It might not look fantastic to an outsider, but at the end of the day, I think it would be great to see him in there again with in the Cage Warriors gloves. I think maybe one more fight, maybe back in Euro or something like that, just to keep himself active, and then maybe he can get back on the card in September if he can get a win under his belt.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think that Alex, like he's a bit of a quiet character behind the scenes. Like he came on the show and he told us about his health issues, which I was actually shocked by, to be honest, because he didn't really post that much about it.
Yeah,
you know the way some people are online.
Yeah,
online. Sorry, excuse me. And the way, like, he is the face of CMAC, the Wolf. You know, like the way the brotherhood that CMAC have for not the biggest gym in Ireland by any stretch of the imagination, but the way the Keith Kyos, the Jordan Bradshaws, the Jagan guys, the Ross Carneys, the Trevor McKengos, even Kai O'Sullivan, like what they're doing on the domestic scene is like, I don't even think you could say is going under the radar anymore, because a lot of them have turned pro now, and like there's a lot of buzz around the area. I think Keith or Alex said that they had nearly 100 members in the gym at this stage. So you could say it sounded like nearly all the gym members were in the arena as well. But look, Alex said after the event that he was happy to get the 15 minutes under his belt, and then now I'd expect him to stay in the featherweight division as well. Ross, he was looking well at that weight.
Yeah, he was. And look, I'd love to see him. I feel like it's a broken record at times, but to see him that now back active, you know what I mean? Obviously he was wearing a few war wounds on his face throughout the fight, but I'd like to see him heal up and get back active. Look, I know it's probably going to be a run theme, but like, if they're coming back in September, we're now April, we're basically May, June, July, August, September. Like, I don't think it's a bad shout for him to come back in September. If he wants to get another one in between, so be it. But I think I'd love to see Alex O'Sullivan on that September card.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's definitely happening.
Yeah. Next up was probably the biggest upset of the night. Emer Darcy lost to Daniela Sanchez. Emer Darcy seemed to be doing great on the feet, then got caught with a left hook at one stage, and it seemed to all go downhill from there. And again, she got caught up in an armbar, sort of going in for a takedown. And at the end of the day, like, I think that's a lesson learned for Emer. I think she's only 4 or 5 years maybe in the game doing this. I suppose maybe inexperience maybe showed. Maybe I can't really remember her being like rocked in a fight before. So obviously she would have probably experienced that for the first time. But look, there's no doubt there's talent there, and there's no doubt that she has the capabilities of coming back from this and showing she is a top performer. I think she just needs to maybe work a bit more on her jiu-jitsu, just judging from the armbar, and again, just take a bit of time, work on her skill sets, and come back. And I think she's definitely someone who has buckets of talent and is a phenomenal athlete.
No, I agree. This was like, it was actually quite disappointing, because obviously Emer was the only Irish female on the card, and then this was the first finish of the night as well. So like, that sort of deflated the run.
Yeah.
And look, Emer knows herself. Like, she's constantly in the gym. She's like training a lot with Shauna Bannon. Like, she's seeing exactly what Shauna Bannon's doing, creating history, fight in, fight out. I think just dust yourself off. Don't take it too much to heart. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it was a submission. It wasn't a knockout. And just aim again to get on the Cage Warriors card in September. Your birthday, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully for my birthday, though, the next fight, Conor McCarthy's walkout song will get played. There was some technical issues with his fight, I think, on the YouTube link as well. There was no commentary audio. But let's not take away from the performance. Conor McCarthy went in there, fought on short notice. Again, as he touched on when we spoke to him, the most important thing was the performance, and the performance was outstanding. He won that fight fairly handily in the end, really, against a really game opponent in Joshua Onworthy. He moves to 4-0. Again, I actually think Conor McCarthy is someone who maybe we could get out before September and then again in September. I think he could maybe get a June or July fight and then September fight. I think he's one of those guys who I think is at his best when he's active. And from speaking to him post-fight, Baz, he looked fairly unscathed.
No, he did. This is everything he wants in life. Like, he made sure he didn't turn pro until he finished college. What did he do in his degree again?
Oh, was it like an engineering background?
Yeah, I think it was engineering. It could be, yeah. Like, but it was like he was.
Someone will correct us in the comments when we're wrong.
Yeah. John Lally be straight in the comments. But no, he looked great. He's like really. We've obviously seen him come up through the amateur days. Like, he's really filling out. Like, I know this was at a catch weight. Like, do you like, obviously at lightweight he looks great. Like, what they're doing in SPG Nace is just they're creating killers in there, especially Peter Queally. We were talking to Peter Queally post-fight, saying you're going to have to post them strength and conditioning classes, because everyone knows them photos at the end of a strength and conditioning SPG Nace class. But Ross, do you think Conor McCarthy could eventually go to welterweight?
I think maybe down the line in his future, but this was only a catchweight because Onworthy couldn't make the weight on time. I think his predominant future is at lightweight, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him at welterweight in the future. But like, I suppose, you know, if you stand him next to someone like James Sheen, who's the champion in the division, he is that bit smaller. So I think lightweight for now, and then see if he grows. He looks like someone who is still growing. So,
Well, that's why I asked. Yeah.
Great. Next up, Chasing Paper Blair. We won't go too long on it. He got a rear naked choke in the first round. I expected him to win. Sort of cool to have him on the Dublin card as well. Broke up the fight in Irish as well, which we like to see. So fair play to Chasing Blair picking up the win. And then next we saw one of the biggest eruptions of the night, Basmo.
Yeah.
Kikyo got the first round rear naked choke of Joe Doyle. Look, I think for Joe Doyle, it was incredible to see the reception he got for his pro debut. He seems to be like a very talented fighter, but he just came up against someone who has absolutely buckets of experience and is an uber talent. I think most people think of Basmo seems to be the sky's the limit for Kikyo. I don't see anyone derailing that hype train anytime soon. I think he's one of the most promising prospects the country's ever produced.
No, I'd agree. Kikyo as an amateur went 15-1, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he's only lost the split decision as well.
Yeah, represented Ireland at numerous IMAF competitions. That was sort of a bantamweight. But it was probably predominantly bantamweight, wasn't it? With a few featherweight fights thrown in.
No, I think there was a fair few featherweights, because I think a lot of them were same day weigh-ins and stuff like that. Now I know he did touch on going down to bantamweight at pro, but as we spoke to him, Baz, were you impressed with the physique of Keith Kyo?
That was the thing after the fight. Okay, well, sorry, Keith Kyo was looking great. Like, that Gaz Hickey fitness. Yeah, training that he does as well with Alex and everyone else. He's doing amazing work with that team as well. Gaz was saying to Trevor McKengo, he needs to get on that training plan as well. And but it was after Kikyo won that fight, the place absolutely erupted. I felt like that fight, the all Dublin battle, was the one that really like got the got the fans off their feet, and like that was an absolute explosion. Like, because you can't deny that there was pressure for Keith Kyo going into this fight. Like, he was just freshly signed, like sold a lot of
You guys
tickets.
are on him.
Yeah, the Cage Warriors social media was posting a lot of Keith Kyo as well. And like, he was fighting Joe Doyle, who's like a fellow dub that like he's going to bring a big crowd as well. Got the win, came backstage. He was like, that was the best Keith Kyo I've ever seen, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what he does next, because I know we touched on that he could fight in the next Cage Warriors Ireland show, but like, he came out fairly unscathed and fresh, and he's used to competing quite frequently, so they could get him on.
I think 100% get him on a Rome card, or get him on one of the unplugged cards over in Manchester. He is someone who the fans love to watch, and he's someone who got out there unscathed. So like, let's get him back out there and turn him around ASAP, Rocky. He's already had his day of celebrating Liverpool in the league, so let's get Kiko out there ASAP. Next, we're looking at the Usain Bolt of Team Rhino. Adam Darby beat Thomas Lankowski, Mad Dog, by unanimous decision. Adam Darby was vicious in this fight. The elbows he was throwing were absolutely ferocious. He looked as game as ever. There were stare downs in between rounds, and there was big shots being landed by both. But Adam Darby was just that bit more cerebral. And those elbows left Mad Dog in a bloody mess. I think this was a great offensive performance by Darby. He got hit once or twice more than I'd like him to get hit. So I'd like to see him clean that up a bit. But I think he got caught up in the moment of the war that it was. But he is looking very technical. He's looking in insane shape, and he is looking like a real problem for this welterweight division going forward, Basman.
No, I'd agree. This Adam Darby he's just different now. You can see, first of all, he's the fastest man in Team Rhino as well. That's impressive. That used to be you, man. Now you're second. But since going over to MMA Fight Academy in San Diego, like coming back, he's just completely grown as a fighter, and as and physically. Like, he's
big time.
Like he was looking like a new athlete, Ross, and he went out there and like really, really impressed. And just going into the future now, like, he's definitely going to be a big problem for other welterweights. I think he's now what, 5-1.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so like he's definitely someone who you have to take notice of, and he's someone who people aren't going to be signing up to fight like there's no tomorrow. So let's see where he goes next. Again, I think he's someone who I'd love to see. He was inactive for 18 months. I'd love to see him get back out there sooner rather than later. So I would love to actually see him before September. Maybe bring him over to one of the Italian shows and have him fight on one of those cards.
Yeah, he's mad for his pasta, that chap, isn't he?
Yeah, mad for the pasta. For the pasta. But
Russ,
and he opened up the main card as well. So shout out for that as well. That was always impressive.
Yeah, then like Paddy McCurry was meant to be on the main card as well, Ross, and then we got notified by Graham Boylan that his opponent failed a medical on the day. Ross, how disappointed were you to not see Paddy McCurry in the Cage Warriors cage?
I think this was Paddy McCurry. This is going to be one of his moments where a win here would have got him a title shot, or maybe a shot at Dana White's Contender Series. I feel like there's a lot of hype, and rightfully so, behind Paddy McCurry. He's very, very exciting to watch. He ticks all the right boxes. He says all the right things. He has an iconic celebration. He has some brilliant finishes to his record. Devastated for Paddy. He seems to take it really well on the chin, but hopefully we turn him around and he gets on one of the next Cage Warriors cards ASAP, because he is an absolute phenomenal prospect, and he's someone who I thoroughly enjoy watching. Like, I just get great entertainment from watching him fight.
Yeah, Graham Boylan said that he plans on putting him on the Cage Warriors 189 Rome card on May 31st. So hopefully that can be confirmed sooner rather than later, Ross.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because that will be absolutely brilliant to get him on there as soon as possible. Next up, we saw Solomon King Simon knock out Christian Yorga at 1 minute 43 of the first round. But as this was knockout of the night, this is one of the most viral moments of the night. He had Iorga doing the chicken leg dance. It was a knockout that I haven't seen in a long time. In Cage Warriors, the way he sort of fell flat in his face. This was very, very impressive from Solomon Simon. Solomon Simon, like, I think, like, you know, we're talking about Harry Hardwick next for him maybe, but like, when a knockout like that, like, that's a potential where, you know, you get a shout from Dana White's Contender Series being like, let's have a look at this guy. Why not? You know what I mean? He's finishing people left, right, and center. He's undefeated. He looks great. He was in flying form afterwards. He loves it. So I would love to see Solomon Simon either get a title shot or go to the Contender Series.
I 100% agree. Like, well, Solomon Simon has finished all his fights, as he said there. Like that knockout there against Iorga,
yeah,
who previously fought a weight division above for the title,
and went the distance with George Hardwick.
That's the thing. And the thing is, I think Solomon Simon could be potentially like the most, I wouldn't say underrated, because like everyone knows how good he is.
Yeah, but he's
like,
probably under the radar on a global scene.
Under the radar, man. I think that is really it. Like, I think it's because maybe it's Team Rhino, and then he's also part of the Team Rhino Waterford. Like he's not, like, I know post fight he was looking to point someone out, but he's never really like he's not a massive talker, like, and he comes with a lot of respect. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes when you're fully cross training in two gyms, people don't know whether to class as one gym or the other, and therefore, like, maybe, like, you know, you don't get as much of a rub or something along those lines. Hard to really put your finger on it. But also, as you said, he's a really nice guy. I suppose that's the only way I could say it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not that much of a trash talker. Now, I know he did call out Harry Hardwick, and he went up face to face to Harry Hardwick and said he wants to fight him next. So, look, Saul has to call a shot. He did a little, you know, he signaled for the belt around his waist next. He is someone who maybe doesn't get as much promotion, one might say, as the rest, as some other fighters, but he is someone who I think everyone after that performance will take note of.
Do you know what, as well? He's one of the only fighters that makes sure to shout out every other teammate that's on the card as well, even during his successes as well. Like, he makes sure he does that as well. So sometimes being a good,
he's a lovely guy.
Well, he's being true to himself. That's all you can really ask for, you know.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. No, fair play, Saul, man. Like, I mean, like, I think he definitely earned a lot of fans over the weekend, Ross.
Yeah, and then next fight is probably one of the next biggest eruptions of the night. Max Lally went in there, got the job done. Unbelievable performance for him. First round triangle choke. He's an absolute killer, this guy. Against a 4-1 Greek opponent. Went in there in front of a huge hometown crowd, and he got the job done. He's unbelievable fighter. You know, they might as well get the rocket ship and strap it to his back, because Max Ali is a star, and he is someone who Cage Warriors are probably delighted they have signed to a multiple fight contract.
Yeah. Going into this fight, Ross, we were obviously talking that, like, we see Max come up through the amateurs as well.
Yeah.
Kept a keen interest on his career. The hype he was getting, like, sometimes the hype can go one of two ways. It can just fall off, or it can get too big for your head, and then, or else you can shine under bright lights and it all goes to plan. But the way Max just signed, like, he fought a few times on Cage Legacy, then all of a sudden he's fresh into the company, straight onto the main card. And he said himself he wasn't expecting that. I'm sure some people were could have been surprised by that. But he's, like, first of all, going into the event, he is one person that is, like, literally a student of the game, especially in the Irish MMA scene. He made sure that he shouted out every single Irish fighter on the card. That's not something you see very frequently, because, like, look, it's a lonely sport, lonely game. Like,
he's good skin.
He's a very good skin. But the hype he got with the Cage Warrior social media in the build-up. The Alexander Volkanovski background, training with Volkanovski to win the UFC featherweight title. Then in his corner, like a superstar corner with Owen Roddy, Peter Creeley, and Sergey. Like this could have went either way. Like looking at him there, it said he was 23. Like he looks like fully grown. I'm sure he's going to grow a bit more, but like he was looking like a proper star out there with the mullet. Like the way he finished, even picking his shots with the elbows, just making slight adjustments before he got to submission. The way that the atmosphere absolutely erupted after.
Yeah,
as you said, he is a star, and the thing is, like, what you do here is like on the domestic scene, do you absolutely like keep shouting his name, like, or just sort of let it happen because like something big is coming from the Lallies.
Yeah, Max Lally is going to be a household name in the country soon enough, but especially with the directory he's on, and there's a reason Alex Volkanovski brought him into his camp, and that reason's clear now. Massive win, and again, like, look, he looks relatively unscathed. Let's get him out there again in maybe on one of the Manchester cards. Let's have it.
Yeah, I think, like, I know we said it before, but that was the big one for him, and he looked right at home. Like even when he came backstage after, like he made like he was like had a lot of time for each and every person in the media as well. I think he could be that next sort of Paul Hughes guy, that next like Ian Garry name. Like if you aren't watching Max Lally now, this guy is destined for the UFC. As long as things go to plan, and like there hasn't been any issues so far with his career. So let's see what happens next. Very interesting.
Yeah, big time. I was probably moving on. Unfortunately, Jared Harris didn't get his hand raised. He fought a really tough opponent on short notice. Look, at the end of the day, his opponent missed weight as well, which isn't helpful. But I think what happened with Jared, and I think he knows himself, he played his opponent's game. He was going literally toe for toe. He was going leg lock for leg lock with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And look, Jared's no slouch on the ground himself. He's a brown belt. He's got good Jiu-Jitsu, but at the end of the day, like, Jared's goal was to keep that fight on the feet, and I think maybe it was an ego thing that got the better of him. But look, I think Jared knows that. I think, look, he's a very talented fighter, and we'll see him back there again. But look, unfortunate for him because I think it was the best shape I've ever seen him in going into the fight.
Great.
I think, look, hopefully we can see him out there again soon, because from the looks of it, it's not like the way he was beaten. He was beaten up badly. It seemed to be he couldn't get the better of the positionals against a very good opponent.
Yeah, I don't want to be making excuses, Ross, here, but like the way he was announced, he was going to be on the card, and then he only got an opponent fight week. Like when you're training nonstop and then you're around people, the likes of your Solomon Simons, Darby's, James Sheehan's, Jamie Abbott Bissett's, they all know their opponents. Like, I'm sure that's like can't be that easy, because look, I know you can get a last minute replacement, but at least you have the name, the face that you're like focused on, being like putting it all in, being like, this guy is not doing what I'm doing.
It's definitely difficult to be given someone who's such an expert in one field, like you're fighting him now. But again, like, I think the last time Jared went out, his last win, he went out and submitted a black belt in his last fight that he got his hand raised in. So like it's a tough one, you know what I mean? I think Jared's at a stage now where, you know, he wants to push towards, like, you know, a contender series, or maybe like an Ultimate Fighter, or like be going for the belt. And, you know, these are the fights he has to take at this stage to get himself in those positions. You know what I mean? So, and look, it's not like he was completely outclassed and like it was like super one-sided and he was like beaten from pillar to post. Like there was minor positional elements to the fight that, you know, he didn't get the better of, and we'll see him out there again, you know.
Oh, Jared's a star, man. Like full stop. Like, you know what I mean? He's definitely beloved throughout the country. Like, look, he'll be back. I wouldn't take it. 100%. I wouldn't take it too badly. Like, you know what I mean? He's like high up on the main card for a reason, and he'll definitely be back in the next Irish event.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we saw James Webb defend his light heavyweight belt. For me, I just want to see James Webb get a shot at the UFC next. I think he's earned at this stage. He's defended his belt at middleweight. He's defended his belt at light heavyweight. He actually said with Eve that like he'd even try the heavyweight belt at Cage Warriors if that's not what's next for him. But I just think he just deserves a shot to go to the UFC. Look, whether he wins or loses there, like it will be what it'll be. You know what I mean? Like he said to me, he was like, "Here, I'm not here to change the game here." He goes, "I just want an opportunity to prove myself at that level." And I feel like at this stage he's earned it and he deserves that opportunity at that level. Like he beat John Allan there and he finished him. And John Allan has fought twice in the UFC. He won one and he lost one, but his record will say 0-2 because he failed a drug test. But it just goes to show that James Webb is at that level. He's training with top guys like Modestus Bukauskas, like Tom Aspinall, like Mick Parkin, who are in the UFC. So I think give James Webb one fight in the UFC and let him have at it, or put him in the contender series. So fights are always exciting. Like he tends to get a lot of finishes. So like let him have at it.
No, I agree. I think because the London cards or even the English cards tend to be absolutely packed, it would be difficult for him to get on there. So maybe you'd have to go on that as an underdog, or maybe like the contender series is the route, but deserves a chance, and hopefully that happens because look, Tom Aspinall is being part of that team, and also the Team KF. There's a backstory, and what's most important is not only your fighting, but like your story as well. And I think he does deserve that opportunity.
Yeah, big time. And then moving on to the main event, which didn't go the way of Irish MMA. James Sheehan was actually up 30-26 on all scorecards going into the fourth round. He was actually very dominant in a large portion of the fight. He nearly had Burlinson finish at one stage, but towards the end of the third, Burlinson dislocated, or I don't know if that's the correct medical term, but he injured James Sheehan's jaw, and then when he put on the guillotine in the fourth, he had to tap. He didn't have a choice on it. And Justin Burlinson, like, what a year for him. Came back from testicular cancer and is now the Cage Warriors welterweight champion. Really nice guy as well. Fair play to him. And I think one thing that goes to show and is telling of like the class of James Sheehan is like the post he put out on social media afterwards, and like then Cage Warriors put out a post of those two like talking about the fight backstage afterwards. You know what I mean? Like it was just really, really good to see. And like that's the type of mixed martial arts that should be like shown to kids growing up who are fans of sport. This is how you show respect for your opponents, and this is how you show respect whether you win or lose. It was incredible to see, and it was great to get those behind the scene moments. And look, I just hope James's jaw isn't too injured. He's 29 now, so like I think if he got back out towards the back end of this year, it'd be absolutely fantastic. And look, if Justin Burlinson doesn't defend his belt and goes to contender series or gets a fight in the UFC, there's nothing really stopping James Sheehan fighting for a vacant belt next, or fighting once more and then going for a title shot as well. Like he's still very much the upper echelon of that welterweight division.
No, I agree. Well, first of all, that fight that as a main event was an excellent match. Was excellent matchmaking. Graham Bowen said after the fight when he was talking to Andy Stevenson that like he did it with a heavy heart, putting both these lads against each other because they're both on great trajectories. When we were driving to the event, we were like, this is actually like a much bigger fight. Like the more you dive into it, the way like Burlinson has fought in the contender series, James is a champion. The winner of this will make the next step. Burlinson, like he like overcame cancer and also like previously lost in Belfast to Reece McKee, and like James previously like fought Oban in the Tree Arena, and look at how far Oban's come. I just think it was the issue with the jaw. James is well capable of coming back and fighting for the title again and making another push for potentially contender series and or the UFC. Like the UFC were looking at him to go on the Ultimate Fighter this year as well. So I mean, look, it's the fight game. Like it's not like boxing. If you lose your all of a sudden things like could go out the window. James is still quite young in his career as well. Looking at the record, I think he's what is he 8-3 now or 8-4?
8-4 now, yeah.
8-4 now. Like, I mean, another win, and then all of a sudden you're back where in the top, like you're still in the top. So who do you think could fight for that welterweight title next, Ross?
Well, I think Sean Clancy Jr. is the number one contender by a landslide. There, it just depends on whether both those guys could go to the Contender Series, Burlington and Sean Clancy Jr. separately. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But Cage Warriors welterweight division is looking great at the moment. And look, fair play to Justin Burlington. Happy for him. And I really can't wait to see James Sheehan come back, because I'm sure he'll come back with a vengeance. Especially knowing how well that fight was going for him in the build-up to it,
Exactly. And then also Justin Burlington won the Performance of the Night bonus as well. So I mean, like, it's you're dealing with the top of the top here in Europe. So look, there's always another fight around the corner, as they say.
Yeah, and I suppose, like, staying on the welterweight division, we'll head over to Kansas City, where Ian Garry won over Carlos Prates 48-47, unanimous decision. Ian Garry looked phenomenal for the first 3 rounds. Prates started to come back into it in the 4th, and then in the 5th he had Ian in real trouble. But Ian survived and managed to get his hand raised. Look, again, Ian Garry taking the fight on short notice, showing he is one of the best welterweights in the world, and he's one of the most game welterweights in the world. And now he is officially the backup fighter for UFC 315. So if Jack Della Maddalena or Bilal Muhammad pull out, Ian Garry steps in and either fights for the belt or the interim belt, whatever way that's going to end up working. But what a guy! Like, I think he's winning a lot more fans over with his willingness to fight at short notice, Paz, isn't he?
Yeah, well,
or he's getting the respect anyway.
Yeah, well, like, you have to respect it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I know a lot of stuff he says that pisses off a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment. Like, people are like talking about.
He makes people feel.
He makes people feel, man. Like, I check out MMA Guru stuff, and like I think he gives Ian a very, very harsh time. But like, but like, I think Ian now feeds into this. Like, this is like, he's like, right, I'm just going with it. And look, Ian's what, 26.
Yeah,
like, he hasn't even hit his prime yet. What is he now? 16-1. Like, his game is anything. He crosses over into different markets. I mean, like, he's sort of like the almost new Luke Rockhold in the organization. Like, I wouldn't say he is a UFC star, but he's definitely on the way to becoming it. The UFC have invested a lot into him, into his career. Now that he's the alternate in the welterweight fight between Bilal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena on May 10th at UFC 315. That's just more marketing, more eyeballs. And I think he will compete in that? I don't, but like, stranger things have happened, Ross. And that's why Ian's Ireland's biggest star in mixed martial arts at the moment, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely absolutely smashing it at the moment. So fair play to him. And yeah, I'm interested to see where this leaves him post fight, because obviously the likes of Sean Brady, like, is ranked ahead of him. So is Leon Edwards. Buckley is fighting Usman. I mean, these fighters are all in the mix. Who will he fight next? Who knows? We'll have to just wait and find out.
Yeah. Who would you rather? Okay, but if he doesn't fight on that card, 3-on-5, who would you rather see him fight? Leon Edwards or Sean Brady?
I just sort of want to see the Leon fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's best storyline, and I feel like it's the best stylistic fight as well.
And then also, who's Ian Garry's biggest win against?
Is it Prates? Would you say Prates, like, in terms of like recency, is his biggest win? Like if you were to like maybe say to a casual fan, you might say, oh, maybe Neil Magny is the biggest name recognition, but maybe MVP Prates, one of the two, I'd say. Probably MVP if I had to.
Probably,
if I had to
yeah, MVP. I think
Yeah.
after MVP's performance against the Bullet.
Yeah.
Then Ross, I also want to ask you about the release of Cain Loughran from the UFC. Cain went 2-2, and his contract has run out. What do you make of that? And also, where would you like to see him compete next?
Yeah, well, I suppose it wasn't so much a release. He fought out his contract, so like I suppose like they just chose not to re-sign him. Hard to really know. I think like he could come in maybe as an alternate for the PFL European tournament, do that, or maybe he fights, in Aries or Cage Warriors at like one of their sort of top guys, gets 1 or 2 wins, see if he can get a finish, and then get back to the UFC. I think there is sort of best options, but he's still young. Like he didn't have an awful lot of fight experience when he signed to the UFC. What was he, like 7-0 at the time, maybe 8-0? You know what I mean? So like he was still young in his career. It's not like anyone has absolutely demolished him in there. Like all his fights have been competitive. I think at the end of the day, we will see him back at a high level sooner rather than later.
What could be a good shout is he goes to the PFL, and they announce it at the PFL Belfast card on the 10th of May, and that he fights at PFL Paris, because like last time he was in Paris,
him and France have a good relationship, or an interesting relationship, one might say.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Well, look, we'll keep you posted, because a lot of people were disappointed with that as well, because 2-2 coming off a win, that was quite interesting. Ross, there was a couple of UFC fights that were announced as well. I just want to run by you, because a lot of people were very interested in them. The first one being Dustin Poirier's last fight with the UFC. He's taking on Max Holloway for the BMF title. Ross, what you make of that?
Well, I think what's great about that is obviously the fight itself is very, very entertaining, but they're actually doing it in Dustin Poirier's home state, so they're actually giving him the send-off that he deserves, and I think it's an absolute cracking fight. And yeah, Poirier might retire as the BMF champ. He's 2-0 against Holloway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, big fight, very interesting fight. Max Holloway, you're a mate, man. Then also, Kamaru Usman is taking on Joaquin Buckley as well. Ross, what you make of that matchmaking?
I think it's great matchmaking. I think it's great to see Kamaru Usman back in there. But I think Joaquin Buckley is hot as hell right now, and I think he's going to be the favourite going into that one.
Joaquin Buckley? I don't know. Kamaru Usman looked very good against Chimaev.
Yeah, but what was that, 2 years ago?
I don't know. You see people say stuff about his knees. Was there another big fight announced?
I think Fiziev is fighting Baham Mondays. I think that was the other one.
Was that the only other big one?
Yeah,
I
think
thought
so,
I thought there was a big one. Then, right, I want to ask you before we get into the rest of the Irish MMA action, Ross. Which fight would you most like to see between these three? You ready?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. Chimaev versus Duplessis. Or Islam Makhachev against Topuria?
It's probably between probably Jones Aspinall, closely followed by Topuria versus Islam, and then Chimaev versus Duplessis last.
Very good scraps. Hopefully something gets announced very soon. On the same night. Yeah, at Cage Warriors Dublin, make it happen, Graham Boylan. We know you've that cash. Paddy the Baddy is raking in these days, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Ross. Okay. We're gonna get into the world of Irish mixed martial arts on the domestic scene. So make sure to like and subscribe, because we are here every week. Ross, over the weekend, Gladiator made his debut show up in Belfast. Ross, I tuned in. We covered it. What did you make of the show overall?
Yeah, look, I think they put on a great fight card. I think Danny Core is a staple of the Irish MMA scene, and it's great to have another show on the books. I think both Core brothers were in action. Obviously Emma Core fought Michael Shields. Like these guys are two top prospects. fair play to Michael Shields. He got the job done. The Energized Amateur Fighter of the Year 2024. He's I think he's still only about 20, so he is very young in that career as well. And look, fair play to these guys for agreeing to fight each other. You know, some of the top guys avoid each other, which isn't great to see. But they went in there and fought. Jordan Scully.
Sorry,
coming in
let's just jump on that. I feel like Michael Shields has that dog in him. He fights as if he has a chip in his shoulder, or else people underrate him, and he's out to prove himself like every fight. In the build up to that fight, there was a lot of back and forth between him and Emma Core. I know I know Michael got the win there. He's now the super featherweight champion in the organization. But like, there's something about him that I cannot wait to see if he turns pro, what he does with his career.
Big time.
Yeah.
Jordan Scully coming in on short notice, picking up their welterweight title. Fair play to him. SBG Nate's on fire at the moment. Kieran Maskey defeated Blaine McGill and Baz, what you describe as a fight of the year contender for amateur MMA in Ireland.
Blaine McGill is always in entertaining fights, man. Just full stop.
He is. He's a very entertaining fighter. And Kieran Maskey is definitely a fighter who's more under the radar than he should be. I think he's 7-0 now as an amateur, so he deserves a few more flowers. So shout out to Kieran Maskey. Come here. There was a lot of controversy over the Yusuf Okane and Marco Boychuk fight over the decision. Yusuf thought he won. Marco obviously got his hand raised. What was your thoughts on the fight itself? And does Yusuf have a reason to be annoyed?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, when you leave a fight into the judge's hands, who knows what's going to happen? And like, I wasn't like someone definitely won. Like when I was taking it in, I thought Yusuf uses like his reach well. I think Marco sort of, like, as the fight went on, not so much gas, but he wasn't as fast. I think what's very telling is when the scorecard was read out, that Yusuf looked absolutely devastated, and Marco didn't look like he thought he won. So I think that's what it sort of comes down to.
Yeah, I got the same vibe. Marco looked like somewhat shocked when his name was called out as the winner, and then Yusuf obviously looked. Yeah, but Yusuf also looked very confident when the scorecards were being read out. Now, look, I hadn't seen the fight, so you were watching live, but like just interesting to see. But look, hopefully, I wouldn't mind seeing them doing a rematch on Gladiator 2 to settle the score.
No, I'd be up for that as well.
And then Jack Core moves to 3-0 in the main event. He secured a rear naked choke win. Jack Core, is he someone you like to see Cage Warriors put on the radar for September?
Yeah, well, what's he gone now? Sorry, 3-0?
3-0 now, yeah.
It's 3-0 now. Yeah, I think it's time. I think, look, he sort of has something about him.
And if Gladiator turn around another show as well, he could be 4-0 by the time September rolls around.
Well, that's true, but it's like, I'm sure Danny Core and ZKJ would love to have a fighter in Cage Warriors. Like that, someone like Jack would definitely be of interest to the likes of Graham Boylan and Ian Dean. So, look, what does he deserve a chance? Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's let him have it. But Baz, this is probably a longer show than we normally do, but here we are, and we're gonna have a look at this weekend's mixed martial arts.
Yeah. Well, Ross, when there's like 18 Irish fighters on a Cage Warriors card, you have to like cover it as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So we'll just let you know what's going down this week, right? On Thursday, PFL playoffs go down in Orlando. Carl Moore takes on Shoeface in the light heavyweight division. So make sure to check that out. That is on Thursday. For combat sports enthusiasts, the boxing goes down on Friday. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez are fighting on Friday night. Also, we just want to give a massive shout out to Aaron McKenna, who defeated Liam Smith, and also what a night for Chris Eubanks Jr. as well, defeating Conor Benn. It's great to see that his dad came out and joined him there as well, because look, that seemed like something out of a movie. Then this Saturday, Ross, the UFC is going down. Corey Sandhagen is taking on Devson Figueiredo. It's going to be your pick this week, Ross. Who do you think is going to win that one?
I think I'm going to go with Figgy.
Figgy, very, very exciting fighter. Let me just look at this card quickly just to see if there's anyone else on the card people should be looking out for. Renier de Ridder is taking on Bo Nickel. Santiago Ponzinibbio is taking on Daniel Rodriguez. And
there's 3 good fights to watch out for.
Jeremy Stevens taking on Mason Jones. Jeremy Stevens, but who the fuck is that guy?
That one's got fight night written all over it, doesn't it? Well, that and the main event are going to be fighting for that, aren't they? 2 absolute slobber knockers coming up.
Absolute slobber knockers, man. Who doesn't love a slobber knocker? That's why Virtuous is going down on Saturday night. Ross, huge fight being added to the card over the weekend.
Yeah, so there's 2 pro fights on this card that are all Irish affairs. The big one now for me is the fight between Brian Manning and Sean Big Stuff Kelly. Brian Manning obviously has an awful lot of eyes on him. It's going to bring a lot of eyes to this Virtuous card. Probably a few more people buying the pay-per-view as well from down in Cork. But yeah, Brian Manning is, they don't call him main event Manning for nothing. He's going to bring a lot of eyes to us. And fair play to Sean Kelly as well. Both fighters are really looking forward to getting it done. You know what I mean? Brian Manning's a bit like Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Brian Manning. And then Sean Kelly said, look, he's trained really hard for this fight. So he might as well get in there and throw down. And also, like, his opponent's reason for pulling out seemed absolutely farcical at the time. So that seemed a bit silly. And then also Damien McKenna is fighting against Alex McCook on the card as well. So I would expect Damien to get his hand raised. And I think if Damien wins this one in emphatic fashion, I think he needs to get a serious step up in competition.
No, I'd agree. No, it's great to see Brian Manning compete again, but I would have liked to seen him on that Cage Warriors card there, or like even an Octagon. I felt like there was a lot of talk about that happening, and now that he's on Virtuous, you know what, it's actually just great news for Virtuous and the Irish MMA fans that he is back, because he brings a lot of eyeballs. And look, another pro fight on the domestic scene is very good news. And yeah, just to piggyback off that, Dame McKenna, I'm sure he'll be looking in the mirror after the weekend being like, I want to be on that Cage Warriors card. I want people talking about me as well. So that's on Saturday night. Then also Armin Hersig will be fighting on PCFC again on Saturday night. And Siam Warriors for Muay Thai enthusiasts is going down on Saturday night as well. And then, Ross, the big one, Sunday, the 4th of May, Akuma is back, baby.
Akuma Fighting Championship is back Sunday, the 4th of May, and it is bringing you 4 massive title fights and a massive pro main event. We'll start off with some of the title fights. We have Omar Oliver defending his he actually lost the bantamweight title fight last time against Fufu, so he's back challenging for the bantamweight title, and he's going up against Rian Dunleavy from Shaolin MMA. So that's going to be a fantastic one. Omar Oliver is one of the top prospects in the bantamweight division. I can't wait to see him fight. Come fight night is going to be a whopper fight. We have Glenn Eagers from Team KF fighting Aidan O'Boyle for the interim lightweight title, which should be an absolute fantastic fight. Hopefully, you see the winner of that fight, Dominic Rhodes, for the unification bout. Unbelievable matchmaking.
Yeah, that's a great fight. That's a great fight. Yeah,
really big fan of that one. Yeah. We have Marco Cardillo defending his welterweight title, and he's fighting Sean McDermott. I think Sean McDermott's actually the most active fighter on the amateur scene in Ireland over the last 6 months. I think this is going to be his either 3rd or 4th fight already. So he is staying active, and he looks really, really good. The Team Torres man is coming to collect one of his first trophies in his amateur career. And then an unbelievable flyweight title fight between Shay Cleland out of Team Torres and Ben Mann out of SPG Charlestown. These two are 2 young bucks. I don't think either of them are even over the age of 22. And the winner of this will be one of the best flyweights in the country, no doubt about it. This is an absolute banger fight. It's probably rare I get like very excited for flyweights, but like these are two of the best flyweights in the country by a landslide. And then in the main event, we have a pro catchweight fight between Benny Johnson and Troy Gibson. It'll be Johnson's pro debut, which is something I can't wait to see. He's an absolute slugger in there. He's always in really, really tough fights, and I can't wait to see it. And then Troy Gibson, it's been a hot minute since we've seen Troy Gibson. The FAI man has had a very strange start, one might say, to his MMA career. He's 1-1 in his career, and I'd love to see him get in there. And look, he's had a full camp for this one, so he should get a fair fight for this one. He was 9-1 as an amateur, or maybe 9-2, I think. So he was highly titled amateur, and he's the head coach of the Shed.
You've sold it to me, man. We will be there at Akuma as well. We'll be putting out content, so make sure you get involved, because we'll be posting all week, all the Irish MMA content, and it is not to be missed. Make sure you come back next week as well. We will be doing a preview of PFL Belfast. Paul Hughes was in attendance there at Cage Warriors over the weekend, so it's going to be a huge night for him and Irish MMA. UFC 315 will be going down. Will Ian Garry be on that card or not? Who knows? But we will be discussing it all, and we will be recapping everything from this weekend's show. Ross, another show, it was a great week for Irish MMA. Absolutely, bud. Great week for Irish MMA. Another show in the books. We can't wait to see it. If you want to support us, support Irish MMA, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized.
The Energized Show, up the Irish. It's the face that runs the place, Chaos Curtis. I want to thank the Irish MMA community so much for getting behind me. You up the Chaos Cartel.